All right. We're going to quickly chat about IDE native chat experiences. There are some new designs that are coming up, and I want the team to connect real quick to talk about some of the architectural ramifications of this new bit coming and things that we can do to make IDE native designs just easier going forward. So, Tomas, feel free to get started. John.
Yeah. Um, Share screen so we see the agenda. And first, I want to say I watched the videos and it looks awesome. I want that chat now. So like the future vision, I 100% agree with it as a vision. Few things that I mentioned just as like a quick. I know who's going to be on the call, but I'll put them on the issues as well. If we make the UI look too similar to the editor, people will expect that it will work as an editor, which will be really hard to achieve, at least in VS Code, for web views. So I think that little bit of distinction of the looks is going to be setting the expectations the right way, rather than checking what font you have and using exactly the same size font, color theme for your web view. The one thing that comes to my mind is Vim. Like I use Vim key bindings and they completely change how you edit the code, and that's not going to work in our web view. So that, then I was gonna discuss that I would really like to see the gradual steps. Like I know that this is a vision, but I think the worst thing we could do would be take away like just say we drop the current chat experience and we'll just rewrite it our own way with blackjack and all the bells and whistles, and we like pause any work on the normal chat in favor of writing our new app. I think that that's usually a slippery slope to unpleasant place. So that would be the next step to think about how are we going to take first steps. Like my thinking was, aligning everything to left sounds good, using different font and stuff like that. Some of the more uh, advanced context refactorings might be more difficult. And the last thing before I finish the monologue is that I would envision a feature that I use daily. It's again vision, as John calls me out on it correctly. The API doesn't support it, so we would have to implement it in Monolith as well. But I often realize that I wrote a message that confused AI, and I just delete AI's response and the message and start over. And that's something that we can't do in chat, and that results sometimes in the AI staying confused, and you need to pretty much torch the discussion and start all over again. But that's like a tiny feature, and I'll leave others to take it from here.
So I'll hop in real quick because I made a comment to Thomas's point about if we make the UI look similar to the editor, people are going to want to use it like an editor. And I think this is a really good spot for us to want to define what does IDE native mean? Because when someone says IDE native, I'm thinking I'm building it with the UI toolkit that's available to me in an IDE. But if it really is just it looks like the IDE, then that sounds like some CSS. That's just styling. Um, um, and so it really we kind of need to define what is IDE native. Is this like a really, is this a core value of our team? Is this something going forward for other GitLab elements that we want to bring into editors? And then what happens when an editor really feels very different than other editors? Does IDE native mean that we're native to that IDE, or just to integrated development environments uh, itself? The concept of it. So we kind of need to make our definitions first.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it's a good opportunity for our team in general to just rethink the front end architecture, because if we're not tied to the GitLab UI, like the paper cuts team, essentially, um, we are free to answer those questions freely, right? Because like if the requirement is that we have different IDEs, different CSS experiences essentially across the different extensions, like that's going to be so much harder to do with the current tech stack, versus like thinking about a tech stack that like works cross IDE and just automatically updates using the architecture that you already built, John, which you already kind of have a lot of that stuff, right? That base logic there is just like the actual styling system um is right now like not conducive, in my opinion, to that. Versus like if we use something simple like Tailwind that everybody knows, which Papercuts is already kind of moving to in the first place, just the GitLab version. Um, like it's just we basically create different components with different Tailwind styling depending on the editor, and you just pass the editor as the prop or like a global state, right? And so you can just switch the theming or the component theming um, at the editor level, right? Um, but yeah.
Lena, Lena, chime in a bit. So right now it looks like we're kind of at a crossroads. We have lots of IDEs. Um, so what are your opinions about, is this a good opportunity for us to start building components across IDEs? Is this an opportunity to start standardizing things? And if so, let's think about the pros and the cons. I don't want this to just be a long discussion. After this meeting, I want us to have some sort of understanding of where we're going. So, what are the pros and what are the cons? And where are people at on making a decision on moving forward? So, pros and cons. Lena, give me some pros and cons for this.
So like the phones, so it all depends on how much capacity we have for this, like how much like how we estimate this. So like if we think we can do it in 2 months, no, we cannot do that. And like we cannot achieve like the desired result like in 2 months if we have more time. So it will take a long time. And like between in the time we will have like to support some intermediate state, as Thomas told. How do we like support like say one chat and like this new chat, or uh, are we gradually moving to it, or we are supporting two chats at the same time?
Right.
Um,
So pros and cons. So you mentioned two cons. So this may take several milestones, but we can commit to iteration for that. And you
mhm.
said the second con has something to do with chat.
So supporting intermediate, like in the intermediate state, like either we support two chats, like two chats at the same time, or we somehow like uh, iterate on the current chat and like take
Okay.
it to the desired take it to the desired state, but that would be hard.
So you're saying supporting two chat interfaces at the same time might be a con. That's what
Mhm.
you're saying. Any pros?
Well, we all have like this design like that we aim for, that looks like the IDE native. Like if we achieve it,
Okay. So
apps users
so
will
one of
like.
one of the pros is a design system that can be utilized across the IDEs. I want to understand, is that a pro that everyone?
Well, I
Oh,
think we
that's
need to define what IDE native is. And Maverick, I think you need to define it for everybody here.
Mhm.
Okay, so IDE native, what does that mean? I'm going to go off the cuff here and say that IDE native should not, for me, if the look and feel are the same, then we should not be married to this concept that everything needs to be built native to a specific IDE. So if we can find a standard or some sort of architecture that if we implement, it looks pretty much the same across the board, then I'm not married to this concept of that is IDE native to me, to be honest. So for me, it's all about look and feel. Do customers still enjoy the look and feel of what we have across editors if we build it in one place. To me, that is how we should define it. Look and feel, if it looks and feels just like it would in its native environment, to me, that is IDE native. We can call it something else if that is confusing, but to me, I don't want to get married to having to do it in a specific editor, a specific way, because that means we're going to have to build things 5 times, guys, and it's
Mhm.
going to get worse.
Well,
So I'm hoping that clears things up, John.
yeah, and that was Thomas's point, was that if it looks too much like an editor, they're going to want it to feel like the editor. And the problem is that we're never going to get it to feel like the editor. We are coming to a lowest common denominator when we say we're going to have one solution that fits all these pieces. So we do need to kind of understand that going into it. And if there are pieces that are like, this is really an IDE feature that we love, and I want to use this inside of, I want to use Vim motions in my chat experience, then we have to know that ahead of time when we're planning an architecture. Um,
And I
so
guess
so
my
that
next
that's
question,
the question.
and my next question is, are there pieces that can be separated? Meaning, can we have a core collection of features across editors that are kind of um, like commodities? They're just, you can put them anywhere. And then maybe we have a smaller footprint for things that we consider IDE native, meaning, can we build stuff on top of web views that, yeah, we go into the editor, we've got to make certain tweaks, but most of this stuff is pretty much built in one place. Is that a possibility?
Well, and we have a good example of this today with like Quick Chat, where we've everyone has sort of found that when they're implementing Quick Chat, that they want to look and feel that a web view doesn't quite support, because a web view needs to be placed inside of a panel. Panel can't just sit anywhere, and Quick Chat kind of has to be able to pop up anywhere, has looks where it needs to grow and expand and shrink, and all these elements that just sort of fight the web view kind of approach. So we already know that we have something that we're going to have to build in each IDE separately. Now, that doesn't mean that the backend service doesn't live inside of like the language server, and we have a common interface that we're kind of bound to. But we kind of need to make sure that when we start building out web views for other things like chat, will we want to have this integrated IDE experience that feels um, I don't know. We have to kind of see what does that, we're sort of beholden to each IDE's implementation of what is a web view, and
Right.
each like what is a panel. And Thomas, I know your hand's raised, so I'm gonna I'm gonna cease conversation and turn it to you.
That's what I was raising it. Like you could have finished, no problem. I was just going to say we probably don't want to resolve it here. We just need to set the expectations and also understand the expectations. If Taylor and Dasha by saying, you know, is it okay if it's still going to be WebView? Or when you say ID native, do you expect that we build it from the native components 5 times in each different editor? Because if it's the second part, that we are talking about order of magnitude, at least order of magnitude higher work than if we do it in language. So that's a question that we probably won't resolve us 6 here, but we need to like set the expectations. Maybe we want to rename it to not be IDE native, but be something like, like a developer centric chat or like a IDE friendly chat rather than IDE native, because that will, to a lot of people, that will make a thing that we in JetBrains, we will build a UI from the native Java components, for example. So that would be like a one action point from this meeting, in my opinion. What do you guys think? And Angelo, you can take it away.
Yeah, I think like um the UI being native itself would probably be out of the question. Like, I feel like that's something the engineering we can go back and be like, this is too much, like it being native. But that being said, I don't think the issue of like expecting bindings and all that like native stuff, even though it looks native, is actually a thing because as a heavy user of like my personal projects outside of GitLab, like other tooling like Cursor, um, that's never crossed my mind even once. And I use Vim, like I and their chat, and they have, I'm pretty sure it's native, because they forked VS Code. But like if you look at other vendors like Codium and Supermaven and all the other people who are plugging into editors, they're using web views. It just the CSS theming fits the editor and
It
it
is
talks
definitely
back and
using
forth
web.
with the editor how you would expect it. That'll cover 99% of what people want. And I think that's what Dasha, I don't want to speak for them, but I think that's what Dasha and Taylor are aiming for, not like we expect to support Vim bindings and your, keyboard settings JSON and all that stuff.
And also, just to be clear, like some of these are frankly architectural decisions. Um, we are not going to build 5 times. Those days are over. And to Angelo's point, I'm pretty sure that Dasha and Taylor are flexible in terms of what absolutely needs to be a specific thing for a specific editor versus, okay, let's figure out how much of this we can build once using web views. Codium is definitely using web views. It's something that if you're not familiar with what they're doing, might be a good idea to look at some of their open source code. But we need to move in this direction so that we can continue to move faster. So for me, this is about if the look and feel is very similar or it satisfies our customers, let's move toward architecture that allows us to build things once where possible. So that's my feedback for all of this. I want you all as staff engineers and also as a team to figure out ways to make sure that WebView is implemented where it can be and know exactly where and when tweaks need to be made for specific editors by asking the questions to obviously to Dasha and to Taylor, but also looking at things from an architectural uh, place that we're trying to build things in one place when we can. Anything else?
I think it's exciting for us because I mean, there is a dual maintenance cost that's going to suck until we deprecate like the existing chat. But like, um, I don't know. For me, like just as an example, GitLab Wrapped, I was able to make that in like a week because I was just using better but less legacy technology, right? And I was using TypeScript, and it was just I was flying through everything. So I mean, it's different when you're working like across a team, but I think like this stuff will let us move faster, and like picking stuff that lets us move faster will be huge for us. If we use the same stack, I don't know how productive we'll be compared to um like rethinking the stack, but that's just me. I don't know. Some people might be partial to the existing stack like Vue 2 and stuff. So
Um,
since that's
um,
like what engineers are used to.
I'll let you
um,
guys make the decision on that, meaning you decide what stack is appropriate. But for me, this is really about solid architecture going in a direction where we can build things faster. So the decision about what you use is up to you. However, we're going to follow up with this because we do need to be able to build differentiating products. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go a lot faster. And there will be tech debt, meaning there's always going to be transitional periods. We're having that right now when we're doing, web view integrations and other things with other editors. So there's always going to be a situation where we're in two different places. And I'm willing to make that bet if we can build things faster and in one place. So what are next steps here, John, Tomas, Lena, Angela? What are next steps?
So,
What's the next 3 steps?
so I have a note here that's primarily around how we structure front end applications, and I think that our goal should be, because even with like chat, we know that we have certain features that are going to live as that can't live in WebView. So we have quick chat, And we're also going to have probably native chat implementations in cases of like NeoVim, where we don't have a standard web view sort of structure. So it would be ideal if our front end really has very little to no business logic and really is just, I am taking a state and I'm rendering that state and I'm sending actions back up to the server. Um, that way, we're just focused on UI presentation. Um, and our state can all be sort of like all that business logic can go, hey, let's either move this as close to the interface line as possible, to the domain boundary between the front end and the back end, or into the back end. And I had an issue that I'd opened up because I was working with the workflow team, who is working with the intention of going, hey, we want to have persistent. For them, this was like, I want to have persistent state across either multiple. I open the page up and I'm exactly where I was before, or even like conversations around, I close down my IDE and I open it back up. I want to be able to open up exactly where I was before in the exact same state. Um, and a lot of this was around, okay, it makes sense for them to have some sort of and this isn't really what we're dealing with the chat, but it does simplify that front end. And I feel like our front end is the thing that's constantly changing. Um, and it would make sense for us just to go, okay, I'm not focused on doing this. I'm not doing any filtering of my records down there. I'm not doing any kind of business logic. It's just presentation. That's something that we could do today with our current, front end, is start moving things up that way. That way, when we are supporting two, we could use the same back end, write a new front end, and then we know that all we're doing is taking that same state tree and going, here's a different representation of that. Thomas.
We are at time. I was just gonna, like, if we can really quickly come up with the things that absolutely must happen, like let's say in 2 minutes, and then we handle the rest of this async, if that's okay with all of you.
Makes sense to me. My
I
biggest
think,
question and
yeah.
takeaway is how might we support IDE native look and feel without having to build it 5 times? That's my main takeaway. I'd like you all to think about 2 or 3 steps that we can take over the next couple of milestones that make that possible using web views or additional architecture that we need to build. It's time for us to leap. So that's the question that I want answered during our follow-up. How might we build IDE native look and feel components without having to build it 5 times? And I've got to jump, but you can all come up with the other bits, but that's the thing that I want answered by the team so that we can start planning to make that possible over the next few milestones. Okay? I've got to hop on a call with Andre, but have a good one, y'all.
Bye-bye.
I will even know what we're talking.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm the recording person. So if you when I have say something on the record, then I won't finish the meeting yet. But I didn't want to cut you off, John. I think it's a good idea. I was just thinking that technical discussion would just go way past my dinner time, which is 3 minutes ago. So I was like, yeah. So I'll post this recording. I think, and we'll discuss it on the Epic of the Vision, I guess. I think it's a huge undertaking, but we'll discuss that there.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Bye,
Catch
everybody.
you later. Good seeing you. Bye bye.